convos. Let haters fall down like
No More Sleep Game Script is all about helping you with your week-to-week fantasy football lineups. Rather than paying attention to things like individual players, we look at game script because coaches don't get injured. So what you want to do is pay attention to the numbers that we tell you. We're going to tell you the strengths and weaknesses based on how the defenses perform recently as well as last year. We'll bake in the strengths of the offenses, and then we'll basically tell you, okay, here are the stats or the metrics that you want to pay attention to from your players. And then you make a smart decision and an informed decision on who to start and who to sit. Okay, so we're going to pivot over to the Redskins side of the ball. And there are three conclusions really for this matchup against the Cowboys in week 2. So the first one is last week the Cowboys faced this guy named Saquon Barkley. You might have heard of him. He's a data killer. He completely skews any results, or when we're doing analysis, we almost have to throw out the data when you're looking at Saquon Barkley as the opponent from a defensive perspective. So conclusion number one is that Cowboys defense is actually better than they appeared last week. Yes, the Giants ended with 8.9 rushing average, but again, it was because Saquon Barkley. So you can't expect that to happen again. This is not going to be an automatic start from a running back perspective when you're facing the Cowboys. Now, from the Redskins' point of view, conclusion number two is there are 4 metrics that will make the running back have a good chance against the Cowboys. Now, remember the opponent here, okay? So the Cowboys were ranked top 10 last year in forced fumbles, rushing average allowed, rushing touchdowns allowed, receiving average allowed, and receiving touchdowns per game allowed. They're a good defense, okay? Now, where they struggled the most last year was third down efficiency. So they could not stop the run on third down last year. They were ranked 29th against third down run efficiency. Now, in week 2, you can expect them to be a whole lot better in that category. In fact, last week, they were one of the best against the first down rush efficiency. So this defense is actually improving, not regressing. So that being said, what are the 4 stats, the 4 metrics that will be successful in week 2 from a Redskins point of view? The first is going to be run block efficiency. Second is going to be juke rate. Third will be yards created. And then last is going to be their stack front carry rate. So let me explain some of these. So run block efficiency is effectively this. How good is the running back with the O-line? That's the simplest way to put it. Juke rate is effectively what it sounds like. So how good is the running back when he jukes? How successful is he typically when he jukes? If he juke and then he gets tackled, that's not successful. If he juke and then he evades a tackle, that's successful. So that's different from evaded tackles, because you can evade a tackle by not juking, okay? Juke is a very specific lateral type of movement. So juke rate, not evaded tackles here in this game. I know a lot of times we talk evaded tackles, but in this matchup is actually juke rate that's going to be important. Yards created per carry. So after you get the ball, how many yards happens after that? And then lastly is the stack front. Stack front effectively means 7 or more in the box. Honestly, stack front, loaded, you can call it loaded front. In my opinion, this should be 8 in the box. But statistically speaking, many engines like to say, 7 or more in the box. You need to be efficient in the stack front because the Cowboys like to have a stack front defense. So that being said, an example of someone who hits the mark on pretty much all of those is, drum roll, Adrian Peterson. So Adrian Peterson pretty much has all of that. However, there is another name who was pretty close to having almost all of that, and you don't even know him probably, but his name is Wendell Smallwood. Okay, so do not be surprised if you see Wendell Smallwood, if they give him some target share or snap share. Don't be surprised if you see him be successful. Are we saying start Adrian Peterson? Are we saying start Wendell Smallwood? No. We're saying do this exercise for the other people as well, and then see where your opportunities lie. Look at draft capital. If you draft someone high, then you expect to get a return on that investment. So you might want to put them in. And then if you look at the other matchups, the Redskins versus the Cowboys is not a great matchup if you have a Redskins running back. If you have better matchups, then great. If you don't have better matchups, as everyone is facing top 10 defenses, and you just got to start someone from the Redskins. What we're saying is, from a metric perspective and player profile, not Patrick Peterson, that's a cornerback. Adrian Peterson and Wendell Smallwood has the player profile that can do well against the Cowboys. Now, receiver side of the ball, straightforward. There's only three things really. The Cowboys, as I said, top 10 in receiving average allowed and receiving touchdowns per game allowed last year. The cornerbacks are underrated. These guys are pretty good when it comes to even pass deflection. So 30% target share is going to be important. Why? Now, normally what you see from a receiver is about 15% target share. That's kind of the average. When you talk about 30% target share, you're talking about elite receivers or you're talking about a tight end, honestly, at the end of the day. So 30% target share, you want someone to get as close as possible to that. Not everyone will be close to that, but you want as close as possible to that. The second metric that you want here that's going to be important is air yard per target of 4.4 or more. Okay, less than that is going to be a problem against the Cowboys. So 4.4 air yards per target or more, and then yards after catch, you want that to be whoever has the highest one. Okay, yards after catch. So examples of people who pretty much hit all of those. Now Jordan Reed normally get the most target share, but his health has been questionable. Hence Vernon Davis having a ton of snap share last week. So be careful with Jordan Reed, although he does normally get the target share when he's there. But as far as second place, McLaurin. So Terry McLaurin, he's a rookie. No one knew about him last week. Last week we said Trey Quinn was someone who matched up pretty well with the metrics. You know who else have Trey Quinn type metrics? Terry McLaurin. So we're going to call him Terry Mack. So Terry Mack, he has the second most target share if you count last week. He hits the air yards per target. He also hits the yards after catch. Paul Richardson has some of that as well. So again, this is going to depend on coaching, but from a metric perspective, our example of a receiver that hits all three of those is Terry. We don't know a lot about him though. And you're going against the Cowboys defense. So we're not saying this is a sleeper of the week or go and start this guy. We're saying if you absolutely have no one else, okay, all the matchups that you're thinking about as far as your other players, they're facing, very good defenses, and you need a Hail Mary here. You got to start a Redskins receiver. Again, you don't want to start a Redskins receiver against the Cowboys in week 2. However, you have no choice. Metrically speaking, Terry, we won't be surprised if he has another good game and they have the opportunities. So there you have it. That's the Redskins side. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button if you like the video. If you don't, hit the dislike button. We need the feedback. You obviously, at No More Sleep, we like data. So drop a comment. Let us know what you think. And continue to look for the rest of the matchups today, which is when we're releasing these videos. So this is week 2, 2019, No More Sleep game script.
Get it, go get it, I got it. Get it, go get it, I got it. Get it, go get it, I got it.